Assalamu alaikum everyone. Today I'm back with another video on the guidelines for interview, and today we're going to discuss one of the important questions that is often asked by people during the interview. And it's one of the simple one, that is, how do you handle pressure at work? But mostly people find it difficult to answer. So let's suppose you went to an interview and you've been asked this question. So what would be your possible reply? Let me think, or maybe try to stay calm or act smart. But all of these replies seems incomplete. They're not telling you anything about your talent or the way you can add value or the way you are suitable for the job. And there are positions, especially like let's take an example of recruitment. There are positions where there are times where you have so much pressure on you to fill that particular position, that particular time period, because the certain department need a resource. So in that scenario, it's very important for the individual that he should be good at managing pressure or deal with pressure. And so is the case with other positions, especially the higher the level of pressure becomes high on the individual who's dealing with the scenario. It can be depend on number of factors like the number of people who are reporting to you, or the job size or the area of work you are looking after, or the kind of responsibilities you have. Either you have shared responsibilities, you are looking after two of the departments, or you are a part of a team where you are looking after different projects and dealing with different types of clients. So the it varies from job to job. And I guess I believe we all come across situations where we have to deal with pressure, work pressure. And so many people, even though they are good at academics, they are good at other areas of their job, but if they wouldn't able to manage the work pressure, then there are chances that it will not affect their own health, but their reputation as an employee or as a subordinate or as a supervisor. So how we can answer these questions in a way that will actually increase uh, our chances to secure a job, and at the same time allow us to highlight our strengths and areas of expertise and how we can contribute to that certain job. The purpose of preparing for job interview is not about faking the answers. Believe me, it's not about faking the answers or just memorizing them for the sake of getting through the interview, because if you end up having that job, then there are chances you have to perform. And when it comes to performance, even though you have passed the interview, you went through the complete procedure, but your retention depends on your performance. So there are some easy ways to deal with it, and one of the technique that is commonly used by people is star interview technique. Yeah, this is true that we use this technique as a recruiter as well, even when designing behavioral questions. But if you are an individual and who is going for a job interview, then you can do the preparation for behavioral questions by making use of this technique, which is very simple and logical at the same time. So it starts with like what STAR stands for. So S stands for situation, like the situation you are in or you were in, then the task you had to do, then the action, the number of actions you took are in against that task or situation, and the outcome of that action or the result you achieved. So, if somebody is asking you scenario-based questions, behavioral questions, or situational questions, so how you can answer them in a way that highlight your potential or your ability to perform well in the job. So let's take an example, a very quick example for your understanding. Uh, what you have to do that somebody like let's suppose you are in the interview and somebody asks you this question, that how do you handle pressure at work? Now I know your mind must be clouded with so many answers or thoughts or your experiences, and some of them maybe are not good, but now you have to mention those areas uh, where you able to make a difference by managing the work pressure situation. So think of a previous situation where you faced a similar scenario or challenge. Like Once I was asked to make a presentation 2 hours before meeting when the client for product demonstration, as a client had to catch a flight in the afternoon and expected to be back after a month. So we didn't want to miss the opportunity. We all know of such scenario, especially when we are in the uh, business development scenario, that there are times when clients have busy schedule, they are moving from one city to another, one country to another, and we don't want to miss a single chance of meeting them and convincing them to have our product. So let's suppose this is the same scenario, and all of a sudden you went to the office and your boss asked you, like you reached there at around 9, and your boss told you that at 11 actually you have to do a product demonstration. For that you have to prepare a presentation as well. Now, we all know that if you are asked to do a certain task in a short space of time, you already have so many tasks lined up already for that day. And now, the anxiety to convince the client, no matter how knowledgeable you are, and the nervousness is already there. So, so it's obviously a pressure situation where you have to make sure that you fulfill the requirement that is presented by your boss and client, because your business depends on convincing that particular client. And especially if the client is huge and he can give you a good business and he's one of the potential client, and it can open up into many good lucrative opportunities for the organization. So the pressure becomes more high on you, because now the business is depends on your own performance, that how you can pitch that, how you can told about the feature, how you can tell about the features, how you can make the presentation, how you can convince the client. So presentation is an important aspect of it. And now here's a task with you. So you have to think of the task that you had to do in that previous scenario. So now when you're telling that individual, you told him or her about the scenario that you had experienced in the past related to work pressure situation. And then you told him about the task that you have been asked to do. So in that particular scenario, the task that you had to do is that to make a presentation and at the same time to present that product or do that product demonstration. So maybe if you are a kind of a person who's very easy with presentation, this is not something where you worry about. But maybe if you are new into the job and you're not aware of the client requirement, then there would be an element of nervousness or difficult to do things very quickly. So this could be a difficult or challenging thing for you at the moment. So now the question comes is, or the focus comes is, that what is the action, what particular action you took in that particular situation that actually tells about your ability to handle pressure at work. So you told him, instead of panicking, I quickly checked with my boss about the client's requirement and made a presentation with pointers, bullets, points, and pictures of products only. Instead of going through into very much detail presentation, uh, I just only emphasize on the product features, the basic pointers that could be help me to deal with the presentation and the pictures of the product, so that he could have a good look of the products. And then I elaborated the pointers that are already a part of the presentation during the product demonstration, and then covered rest of the point based on queries raised by client. So let's suppose you didn't get a chance to meet the client. All you did is took some feedback from your boss, and then you just based on your feedback you actually designed that presentation in short span of time. And what you did actually, that you were able to manage that situation not only by making presentation, but at the same time doing product demonstration in a way that you left some time for him to ask certain questions about the product, and then you address all of them during the presentation or after the presentation. So this is the action you took basically against the situation you were in, about the task you were supposed to do. And then comes the result part, the outcome of the action. Obviously, no matter how many actions you are taking, the success of that particular scenario depends upon the outcome. So it's very important that you highlight the result that you have generated because of the actions that you took in that certain situation, that shows your ability to handle pressure at work. So not only I gave an impressive product demonstration, but also made my boss and client happy by addressing their concerns on such a short notice. In fact, I worked on a presentation format for all product demonstration to avoid the hassle in future. So sometimes you are taking actions by doing the firefighting thing, and at the same time, when you came across a situation where you had to deal with a situation where you had so much pressure on you, so you can come up with an idea that will help you later in your future. Like after later on, I the candidate actually worked on a particular presentation format and designed all of the product demonstrations on that particular format. So if anything comes up again like this, all of the presentations will be handy and easily available to share with the client. So this is not only telling about your ability to handle peer pressure, work pressure, but at the same time highlighting certain competencies of yours, like the way you are good with managing tasks, the way you are good with organizing or planning things, the way you are future oriented, and how you took an a step to avoid similar situation in the future. So make sure that your reply based on honest experience rather than something you fake it, because whenever you're going to perform in the job, you have to show those qualities as well, whatever you're telling during the interview. I've seen people who would able to nail the interview with all the preparation and the good communication and connections in the organization to know what to say and what not to say. But when they come in the organization, they are not competent enough to perform, because whatever they were saying in the interview were not actually what they were uh, actually capable of doing or performing. So make sure that you prepare your interview answers based on honest, candid experiences rather than faking them or making up the stories just to impress the interview, because he's also noticing your non-verbal cues, your sensory equity, the way you are responding to the situation, the way you are telling things. So maybe you come up with very good story, and that actually is very impressive for the person sitting across the table, but at the same time your body language is not supporting whatever you are saying. So or whatever the job role you had, the situation you come up with is actually not fitting that particular job or that organization. So I know that it it really raised a red flag over here, because all you are doing is exaggerating about your past role to achieve that job or to secure that job. And after being honest with it, preparation is the key, and then how calm and composed you are while answering those questions. The purpose of preparation is not to memorize the answer, but to prepare yourself in a way so if anything comes up to you spontaneously, you are prepared enough to think through the situation and come up with a good answer. So the point here is to use the STAR technique, which is rely on four things. First, situation, then the task, then the number of actions that you took in that particular situation to perform that task, and then the outcome or the result that you generated out of those actions. And if your answer is based on all those four expect or four particular areas, then I'm sure that it's going to be a complete answer, and at the same time tells so much about your potential, your ability to perform, and your competencies, and how different you are from other candidates or how good you are for that particular job. So I hope you enjoy that. If you have any query, do mention in the comment section. Do like and share my video with your circle. Do subscribe my channel, and do share with me your candid feedback so that I can improve on my future videos. Thank you, take care, and Allah Hafiz.